If you're looking for a second chance with your ex, a lot of it comes down to how you communicate with them. Now, this can be a very sensitive process. You say the wrong thing and you could scare them off for good. Say the right thing and they'll practically beg you for a second chance. So today here in this video, we will talk about what to say and what not to say to make it happen for you. I, of course, am Brad Browning, author of The X Factor and Breakup Coach here on YouTube for closing in on 15 years now. I've helped many people communicate with their exes in a way that led to a stronger connection than ever. So this is a question that I get a lot, and I wanted to make a quick video summarizing what I'd say to most people who are facing this situation. All right, now let's get into what you should say to your ex if you want them back. The first item on this list is controversial, but I say, without any doubt, that it's the best thing that you can say to your ex if the breakup is fresh and you're both still processing what happened. And that is nothing. Yes, one of the best things, if not the best things, to say to your ex right now is really just nothing at all. Now, this is especially true immediately after a breakup because you see, right now you have a lot of opportunities to make mistakes and screw up your relationship with your ex for good. Emotions are running high, you're probably both hurt, and you're very emotional. And of course, that can easily lead to drama, to huge fights, and to a general breakdown in communication. In fact, even the most, innocuous comment during this time can piss your ex off and make them pull away in a major way. And even if you don't actively mess things up, staying in contact with your ex right after the breakup is still a recipe for disaster because of how it affects the relationship. So the first thing you need to know is that you don't want to end up friends with your ex. Now, of course, this may seem like a good idea if you want them back, but it's actually a mistake as it can become, a barrier to reconnecting with them romantically. Because if they think you're their friend, when you reach out to them to spend time together, they'll be thinking that this is platonic and then it can be really hard to make your intentions clear without scaring them off. And if you keep in contact too early on, this will often lead to friendship, at least in most cases. And another hazard of staying in contact with your ex right now is that it can actually help them get over you. So think of it like this. Your ex is having a hard time with this breakup. I don't care if, they broke up with you, if it was mutual or whatever. Breakups are hard and they cause a lot of pain and stress. So if you stick around and act as a shoulder to cry on, you're actively supporting your ex through the breakup and you're helping them move on. You're also letting them know that you're okay with the breakup, by being that person for them to turn to and rely on, which in turn shows them that the breakup wasn't a mistake. It was the right move. And now they have the freedom that they were looking for without having to lose you as a friend and a support system. And you actually just want to do the opposite here. The moment the relationship is over, you want to withdraw from them completely and give them as much space as physically possible for at least a few weeks following the breakup, or more, depending on the situation. This means you shouldn't say anything to your ex during this period. Really, the risks here really just genuinely outweigh any possible benefit. Now, I totally understand that this is counterintuitive. You feel like you need to get as close to your ex as possible to convince them that they made a mistake and that you are the right person for them. But you need to resist these feelings. It's only your emotions talking. If you really want your ex back, you need to make them miss you. And the only way to make that happen is to give them space. Trust me, I've been doing this a long time. Now, of course, this process is called no contact, and it's something that I preach on this channel and in my best-selling X Factor program. To understand more about why this works and how to make it happen, head to breakupbrad.com right now and watch my full free video presentation there. It dives deep into the psychology of your ex to explain why this works so well. Again, you can watch that full tutorial for free at breakupbrad.com. So now maybe you're wondering, what should you say once your period of no contact is over? And what should you say if they reach out to you before then? Well, don't worry, that's what we're going to talk about in the rest of this video. Starting with this gem, remember that time when. Now, this is something that I recommend to almost all of my clients when they begin reconnecting with their exes. Basically, you just want to remind your ex of the good times that you had together while you were dating. I think it's a good idea to really keep this casual by tying it to something that came up naturally, because otherwise, they might think that you're trying to manipulate their emotions. So something like, I was just in Phoenix the other day. Remember that restaurant we went to in Scottsdale? I still think about those tacos. Just, keep it short and sweet here. You're just trying to make your ex's mind wander, back to happier times. And I don't think I need to explain why, reminding your ex of the good times will help you win them back. And next is something that you need to say during no contact if they do reach out to you. And that is, I've been super busy. So if your ex tries to contact you a lot, then this is a great sign. If they seem concerned by your lack of response, well, at a certain point, you do have to touch base and just let them know you're okay. but you should never admit that you're going no contact on them, because that's probably going to offend them and it's going to raise more questions and, just create drama. So make sure they know that you haven't been actively avoiding them or anything. You've just been really busy. This lets them know that you're not angry or upset, that things are cool between the two of you. You're also hinting at a new life that you're living, an exciting one, with new friends, new activities, maybe even dates with other single attractive people. But don't be too specific here. Just let your ex's mind run wild. And the other important thing is that this new life is one, without your ex in it. And this is going to drive them crazy with jealousy and with regret. So rather than giving them closure or whatever, they were looking for by reaching out to you, they're going to be missing you more than ever. All right, and next is something that you need to say to your ex once you've begun reconnecting if you do want to take things to the next level. And that is, can you do me a favor? Now, many people try to be, as accommodating towards their ex as possible after a breakup. And this can mean, doing them favors and essentially bending over backwards to help them, wherever you can. And I really do advise against this because it can make you look spineless and, frankly, often pathetic. But the same is not true of asking your ex to do you a favor, strangely enough, thanks to a psychological principle called the Ben Franklin effect. Of course, that's named after the founding father who described the idea in his autobiography. He said, "He that has once done you a kindness will be more ready to do you another than he whom you yourself have obliged." Basically, this is a fancy way of saying that doing nice things for other people makes you like them. And it does make a little bit of sense when you think about it. Since we typically do nice things for people we like, if we willingly do something nice for someone, it tricks our brain into thinking that we like them. And this isn't just some clever turn of phrase. It's actually been confirmed several times by researchers. In fact, psychologists out of the University of North Carolina found that you tend to like the people to whom you're kind and dislike the people to whom you're rude. But you do need to be a little bit careful with this one. You need to wait until you and your ex are back in regular contact again, so this won't just, come out of nowhere. And don't ask your ex to, help you move or look after your dog for a month or anything like that. Anything big or complicated should be off the table. Just, keep it small. So for example, you can ask your ex if you can pick their brain to help plan a trip or talk you through setting up a new garden in the backyard. Just ask them about something that they know well and they wouldn't mind sharing. And this is also a really great opportunity to meet up with your ex in person in a way that doesn't set off their alarm bells. The thing is, a huge part of them wants to see you, but they know that meeting up comes with questions, with drama, and potentially with pressure to get back together. But by giving them, a real reason to see you outside of just discussing the relationship, you're helping bridge that gap for them and making it more likely that they say yes. And when you do meet up with your ex, here's something that you can say to them right away. And that is, "Wow, I hardly recognize you." Now this one is very contextual, so don't just hit your ex with it, if it isn't true at all, or if you'll just get a blank stare in return. But if you do run into your ex, or meet up with them after a long time apart, and they've changed their hair, lost some weight, or made, just any change to their appearance, which of course is pretty common after a breakup, then this kind of comment can really make a big impact. Of course, it seems very innocuous, almost generic, but it can actually have a very powerful effect coming from you in particular, because one of the things you're trying to do right now is show to your ex that things have changed since the breakup. Now you might be thinking, well, Brad, I don't want things to change. I want them to think that everything can be exactly how it was before the breakup. And I do, I understand this thought, but it really is the wrong way to go if you want your ex back. Because the moment the breakup happened, everything changed forever. Your old relationship is gone for good. You're now, different people with a different life and different experiences than you were before. And that's a good thing, because obviously something about your old relationship didn't work. Because if it had, the two of you would still be together right now. And you certainly wouldn't need my advice, and you wouldn't need to go to breakupbrad.com and watch my free video tutorial there. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't reconnect with your ex in much the same way that you did before, but what you're doing is creating a new relationship with a slightly different dynamic. And accepting this fact is the first step to making this happen. And the second step is getting your ex to accept it as well. But of course, this doesn't mean that you have to throw away everything about the old relationship and start acting like a completely different person. It's an invitation to get rid of the things that didn't work and start fresh. It's really a balancing act. You want things to feel familiar and safe, but also exciting and new. So, I hardly recognize you. That actually works well in this situation because it makes your ex think about, what's changed and what stayed the same since the breakup. So try to work in other things into the conversation that will both, remind your ex of the past and hammer home the idea that things are different now. And speaking of change, here's something you need to say to your ex if you made a big mistake that led to the breakup. And that is, "I'm sorry." Now, before we get into it, most people should not apologize to their ex after the breakup. But if you did something unkind to your ex and it was significant and you've never apologized for what you did, then of course apologizing is an important thing to do right before going into no contact. So for example, maybe you cheated on your ex, lied to them, stole from them, broke their trust, whatever. If you want your ex back, you need to make sure that there's no bad blood between the two of you. And of course, apologizing can do a lot to smooth things over here. But you should only apologize once, so make sure you do it right the first time. Now here's how to apologize to your ex. Step 1 is to state what you did wrong. So this means that you need to know exactly what it was you did wrong that upset your ex. And at some point you need to say the words, "I am sorry for blank." Now you may try to skip the step because your ex already knows what you did wrong. I know you don't want to bring it up again and open old wounds, but if you don't say it outright, then your ex isn't going to feel the impact of this apology and they won't really think that you're truly sorry. And then you need to accept full responsibility. It can be tempting to explain your side of things, tell them why you did what you did, but this can easily come across as justifying your actions and essentially, making excuses for what you did. So instead, accept your responsibility for what happened. And you also need to show empathy for your ex. Let them know that you understand how that made them feel and that you're sorry for that. Then you need to assure your ex that it will never happen again and express how you're going to change in concrete terms. So just saying, I promise I won't do it again, that is a great first step, but it's better if you can offer some tangible steps that you're taking to make this happen. So for example, if you cheated on your ex with someone from your gym, then cutting all contact with that person is really the bare minimum. Another great step would be changing gyms so that you'll never be tempted by this person again. And from there, be open to listening to your ex's feelings and talking about what happened. Now, I will advise you not to share too much about your mistake, as that can obviously bring your ex back to that place, which can work against you, but don't shy away from it or try to hide the truth if your ex asks questions. All right, I hope that you now have at least a few strategies when it comes to having conversations with your ex. Remember to have a plan and stick to it, but also keep things as light and casual as much as possible. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more information on how to get your ex back. Thanks for watching, guys. See you again in my next video.